Coach, what did the week off do for your team here in the middle of the stretch?
Rest, mentally, physically. I've said this before. I think going through a season like we're going through, winning and losing beats you up as much mentally as it does physically. And this past week, we got away from the typical practice in terms of the content. Still, I think, moving forward and still progressing and still working on things we need to work on, but it looked different. We hopefully will take some of those things as we get back to the X's and O's preparation starting, today and throughout this week. But I think the first and foremost thing was take some time to just breathe and relax and get ready for the last 5 weeks here.
Who's a player right now that's sticking out to you in terms of their production on the ice, and they're doing very well right now? Is there anybody that's sticking out?
I don't love that, Patrick. I don't love pointing out individuals. I just think, I think everybody's trying, obviously, Red Savage is somebody that comes to mind. He had a good month of January. But one guy, coming off the St. Cloud weekend, I think Ludwig Pearson's answer to what happened at St. Cloud against Denver, I thought was really strong. I can't even imagine what he was going through mentally during those 2 games at St. Cloud. We've documented why we kept him in there. And to answer the way he answered is something that sticks out to me. It just does. Confidence is a difficult thing, and he's obviously somebody that has struggled with confidence a little bit this year. We've struggled with confidence as a team, and for him to answer the way he did those 2 games, the last 2 games we've played, really, really proud moment, and hopefully it's a sign that he's able to put that behind him and move forward.
Coach, last weekend against Denver, you guys were really close on the scoreboard. You got outshot a little bit, but at least watching from the stands, it seemed like you were really in the middle of those games. How did you think your guys played?
Yeah, I agree. I thought Friday we played really well. We did everything but win that game. They're a team that proved again this past weekend. I think some of the stats that are being thrown out in terms of how many shots on goal they've had most games this year is pretty crazy. So although the shots were a little bit one-sided both nights, I definitely thought we gave ourselves an opportunity. We had the lead going in the third on Friday and built on that lead, and we were tied going in on Saturday. And Saturday, I didn't think we had our real good game. I didn't. I thought we hung around. I thought our goaltender gave us a chance. We make it 2-2 going into the third, and we all know what happened from there. We found our way to the wrong side of 1 or 2 plays. But we gave ourselves an opportunity because I think for the most part, from the start of the game on Friday, for the most part to the end of the game Saturday, we were engaged in the battle. And it seems elementary, and it seems like no matter what, you have to be engaged in the battle. And I totally agree with that, but it's something that we haven't done all of the time. And when we are engaged in the battle, we can play with whomever. We have to find ways not to lose games and find ways to win games. We've talked about that, but we have to be engaged in the battle to give ourselves a chance.
And what kind of a confidence boost is that for your team? And how does it feel that, no matter what happens in this regular season, you're going to have a chance to go win 2 games and move on in the playoffs?
Well, you'd have to ask the players what type of confidence. I've heard from multiple players that the weekend against Denver was as much fun as they've had in a while. Now, obviously, the bar is pretty low because we lost both of those games. We want it to be a fun weekend where you have success in 2 of those games against a really strong opponent. But the fact that our guys can truly say that, and I think their effort and their engagement in the battle, as I said, showed that they were enjoying the weekend, enjoying the battle. The fact that they can still be engaged in this whole thing is a good sign. It really is a good sign. And hopefully we can build off of that. I know I have a role in that. The assistants have a role in that. The players, the staff, we all have a role in these next 5 weeks, not letting yesterday affect us today or tomorrow or whatever. I think the group should be confident in that. If we're engaged in a battle, we give ourselves a chance. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, and we don't deal in moral victories around here. We just don't. And the facts are, the results say we lost both. However, when we're engaged, we give ourselves a chance.
Going into this weekend, you obviously touched on the depth and how that played a big factor last weekend. How do you think that'll play an impact when testing Seville and playing a team you've had the opportunity to beat this year?
Well, Seville is really good. You look at the stats this year. He's been peppered a couple times and won games for them. And that's on the nights where the team probably isn't at their best. Because when they're at their best, they're an absolute handful. They're really deep on the back end. They're really deep up front. They come at you. They're competitive. Their depth is going to challenge our depth. We're going to need everybody. This isn't about one deep pair or one line. This is about everybody. This is about winning your shift. Again, engaging in the moment and in that puck battle, in the net front, and putting pucks on net, whatever. Seville is a guy we're going to have to get to, meaning make it difficult for him and get to the net front and second effort in front of the net and so on. And we have to be shooters. We can't be a group that wants to pass pucks and pass shots up. We have to put pucks on net. They're coming off a big win in overtime at North Dakota. It looks like. I mean, I haven't totally dug into the Saturday night's game, but Friday night, they're a good team. You know, they're a top 20 team for a reason. And again, I think it's their depth that's their biggest strength. They haven't necessarily had to prove it in net because Seville's been so good, but at both forward and D, there's lots of challenges there, and they keep coming at you.
And then can you touch on the team's overall health coming out of a bye week? Looking forward to this weekend.
Right now, it's just Regish and Logan Neaton. I mean, and you know, Logan's done for the season, and Regish, unfortunately, it's looking like longer than shorter term, and we're running out of time here. So I think we're fairly healthy in comparison. We've got to, you know, continue to get through this week. And hopefully guys can get stronger as the week goes on. Some of those guys are banged up. Cassetti, Grisak, you know, Ryan Savage, those guys come to mind. And hopefully they'll just keep building on the last couple of weeks, the last 10 days. And we'll be, outside of those two boys I mentioned, we'll be fairly healthy going into the weekend.
Scott, what was effective? What came out of the week off for you guys?
Yeah, I think the week off was really beneficial for us, especially after Denver. We had some hard-fought games there. We got some time to kind of take a step back, look at what we did good that week throughout the week, and we got to kind of build on that this week. We had some injured guys. They got some time off, and now we're really getting prepared for this weekend against Omaha. So that was really beneficial, having that time period to kind of reflect and regroup for this weekend. What
have you liked about your play this year? What are some things that, you know, you can take away from this season up to this point?
Yeah, for me, I think my biggest part of my play is kind of bringing my body and my physicality to the game and bringing that aspect to our team, because sometimes we're missing that. So making sure that I'm always consistent with my game is definitely going to help bring our team out. So kind of playing that hard power forward role is really what I'm looking for here.
What's the atmosphere around the locker room right now, and what's your team's goal for the last 5 weeks of the season going into the stretch run of it?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of knows the situation we're in right now, and we're here to make the most of what we have left. We're in a playoff spot no matter what, so we're here to build with these last 5 games, these last 4 games coming up, and we're going to build, and this is really going to help us, especially these games at home against Omaha, to kind of start this momentum again, and we really want to look forward to building on these last several games to help us in this playoff run.
Can you touch on what allowed you guys to be successful against Omaha in the past, particularly picking up a win in your last series against them earlier this year?
Yeah, I think personally, my experience against Omaha, we've always played them well. It's kind of our game matches up against them, and we always have that kind of fire burning inside of us that we really want to beat Omaha. That's a team that kind of we go head to head with. So I think our style of play, when we get on them fast and we play our game, we're really competitive against them, and we always play a good game.
And then can you touch on the challenge it is to keep testing Seville, keep going to the well over and over, trying to eventually get a few past them?
Yeah, I think obviously Seville is a great goalie, and he's been well for Omaha throughout the year. But that's something we're going to look forward to, is kind of getting into the greasy areas in front of him, making him uncomfortable so that we can start putting pucks in that maybe he wouldn't normally let in. So kind of our mindset right now is to kind of get in his grill and be up front with him and get to those areas where it makes him uncomfortable.